Epidemiologist and cardiologist Dr. Christopher Labos joins me now from Montreal. Doctor, good afternoon, and thank you for taking out the time for speaking with us here on the channel.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about this issue of the unvaccinated getting affected now because of COVID-19. We understand, A, the original strain and now the Delta variant, which is more contagious, is affecting those who are unvaccinated. What's your take on how can we change the percentage of people? How do we go about giving out the message now?
Well, I think we have to first off keep highlighting that, as the CDC said recently, what we're seeing now is an epidemic of the unvaccinated. People who have received 2 doses of their vaccines are and seem to be very well protected, but people who have not had a complete vaccination are the ones who are getting sick. So we have to, I think, hammer home in our messaging. The point is that you need your 2 doses to be protected. And if you don't have those 2 doses, you are at risk. You are going to be one of the people who is going to end up in hospital because COVID is still circulating. And I think part of the problem is that we've sort of become the victims of our own success. Things are going very well. So let's not diminish the reality of that. Things are going very well in terms of COVID. But there is still circulating COVID out there, and it still poses a significant risk for the people who are unvaccinated. And I think that's the message we have to communicate to people, so that the percentage of people who have not gotten vaccinated yet because they're unsure if it's really beneficial or not, those are the people we have to target, and those are the people who have to get the message that they are still at risk and they could still get sick and they could still end up in hospital because they don't have the protection that the vaccines offer.
You know, there are 3 kinds, like you just mentioned in this conversation. One, of course, who are completely hesitant, who don't want to get a vaccine. Then there are those who are sitting on the fence, still deciding whether or not we should get one. And then those who have had the first shot and are waiting for their second dose, who may contract the virus. My question to you is, Doctor, when we are waiting for the second dose, I mean, where is that good sweet spot, a comfortable spot where you can get the second dose and you may not get severely sick? Because if you're waiting it out and you contract the Delta variant, the chances are you may still fall sick.
Right. And I mean, there's been some evidence recently that just 1 dose protects you a little bit, but not very much, especially against the Delta variant. So, I mean, my advice to people would be is that if you've gotten your first dose and you're waiting for your second one, I would still practice full protection. I would still be careful, still wear a mask, don't gather into large groups. Because the first dose gave you some protection against some of the original strains, but we have emerging evidence now that, especially against the Delta variant, you could still get sick. And I think you have to consider yourself, if you've only gotten 1 dose, you sort of have to consider yourself as almost unvaccinated at this point, because the risk of you getting sick is still there and still significant. And so when in terms of the sweet spot of like how long should we be delaying the second dose, this is being debated, and I don't think we have a clear answer. It probably doesn't make a huge difference if you're varying it by 1 or 2 weeks. There is some advantage to delaying the second dose to get a more robust immune response, but you have to weigh that against the fact that you go unvaccinated for a longer period of time. So where's the sweet spot? It's probably around 4 to 8 weeks in that window. And I think now, because of the concerns of the Delta variant, because of the concern that we could see a surge of cases come the fall, probably better if we can make sure that as many people get their second dose before the end of the summer, just so that we are in a good position to withstand any potential 4th wave come the fall.
All right, we'll have to leave it at that. Always good to get your insights on this ever-developing pandemic. Epidemiologist and cardiologist Dr. Christopher Labos, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure. Take care.